This is Lou Levy, and she built a system to make anyone rich online, even if they don't have a following. No, really. Over the past few years, she's helped over 1,000 regular people hit their first ever 5-figure month online and has generated over $24 million using it. And when I say anyone can use this, I mean it. The system even made a dog trainer $40,000 a month following it. I was so impressed with her process, I asked if she'd share the entire thing with you. So today you're going to learn how anyone can come up with an idea, create it, sell it, and make a ton of money online using it. You'll also discover why you shouldn't sell on-demand courses and the best way to make money with zero following. Okay, so question one, how on earth do people figure out what they should make that people are actually going to want to buy?
That's actually a two-part question, Ed, right? Because the first part is, okay, what am I going to create? Like, what's the format of this thing, right? We've got memberships, we got courses, we got high ticket coaching, we got one-on-one coaching, but I like to work around a 5-step framework to really figure this out. So the first thing is, whatever this thing is that you create, it needs to bring you freedom, right? That's why we're doing business online. We want to be able to work from anywhere and do whatever we want with our life. So is it bringing you freedom? The second thing is it needs to help you reach your income goals. Some of those options that, we talked about, a membership, maybe a low ticket, it's just not going to help you reach your income goals consistently. So that's the second thing. The third thing is it needs to deliver insane results. I am a big believer that if you focus on delivering results for your clients, everything's going to work out and fall into place. So that's the third thing we need to look at. It needs to position you as an authority, right? You want to be the go-to expert in your niche, and it needs to be scalable. So you need to be able to get more out of this thing than you put in continuously. So when we look at it like that, for me, that eliminates memberships, right? Because then you have to create content all the time. Every month you're in there. It's low ticket, so you're potentially not hitting your income goals, and it creates a lead generation nightmare. You have to have a lot of volume. It eliminates pre-recorded courses in the traditional sense of the word, like pre-record some lessons, slap them on a platform, leave your clients to your own devices, because that's not going to deliver insane results. In fact, we've got something like a 5% course completion rate. That's why, right? People go in, they sign up once, they never come back. For me, it eliminates live workshops because you got to launch that. Have you ever launched before? I know you have, right? But it's this madness of getting the leads, getting everyone in one place, delivering the thing, make all this money, dries up. You got to do it again. And it eliminates one-on-one coaching for me, at least. I know that's where a lot of experts kind of get trapped because it is a really good way to deliver amazing service. It's a really good way to deliver something high ticket, reach those income goals. But essentially, you're still trading your time for money, and you are going to reach an income cap. So freedom goes out the door. So for me, what it means to make something that can really deliver on those things is to create a program. And I like to look at it as this trifecta. It's a hybrid, right? So basically, it's got pre-recorded lessons. So it's got the scalability of a course, right? Your entire curriculum is pre-recorded. Your students, your clients can go through it at their own pace. It's got that community aspect. So basically, you bring everybody into a Discord, a Facebook group, whatever it is for you. So you've got that engagement like a membership, and you've got that high touch support through online coaching. And this is where you're able to deliver those insane results like you would with a one-on-one client. Because essentially your clients need that help when they're doing the thing, right? Coaching is, it answers questions, it gives support. It also it's almost like therapy too. At least that's how I see it. Building a business is hard. People need support. They need you there. They need to ask you questions. And this program, it's high ticket. So you reach your income goals. It's scalable because you can come in, take care of your clients. They're all in a group setting. You can start training your team to help you with that too. It positions you as an authority, and you can do it. And this is, I think, the best part, without the need to start by building an audience. You can create something like this, even if you have zero audience, which is the case for a lot of my clients. They're experts in their areas. They have their network, but they're not having thousands of followers on Instagram or on YouTube yet. So it's really important that you're able to start this business even if you don't have an audience. The second thing is, okay, well, what actually needs to be the content of it? And of course, this depends on your niche, but this is actually one of my favorite parts of the process because it's where we're going to solve for all the issues that are going to come up in the process of building your online business, like how to get people to buy your program, how to grow it. Both those things are going to be non-issues when we start with, okay, what's going to be the content of it? So we start with the transformation, right? This is really, it's somewhere that gets people stuck so much because they're like, I'm going to create a course about how to grow on Instagram. Okay, cool. But like, what does that mean? Where is the person when they join and where do they end up when they are done? Right? So the transformation really needs to be something that you've been through, like an obstacle that you've overcome or that you've helped a client overcome. So that's really important. And I love this because I have the story of a client. Her name's Sandra, and she wanted to do social media marketing. She's like, cool, I have this Facebook, I have this Instagram page, I have these followers, I get like deals with clients. I want to help people do that. But she wasn't getting anywhere. And when we were like, okay, let's look at the transformation. Let's look at what's going on here and really personalize that to her. And that's when I found out she has this like huge involvement in the wine community. She knows all these sommeliers. So it's like, hey, let's get specific, right? You can help sommeliers grow their social media followers and get clients using Instagram like you've done. So this is something really important. Like, where is that point A and where is that point B? And let's really bridge that gap with your program. And I love Sandra's story because she was making $0. She went on to make like 28,000 in 28 days. And she sent me a video that was like, Lou, you have saved my marriage. And I was like, what? What do you mean? And you saved your marriage? I was like, I heard that. And she's like, no, really. My husband like wasn't looking at me because I was like, not doing anything with my life. And now he admires me again. And, he's taken me on a date. And I'm like, all right, that's amazing. So start with the transformation is the first thing, like to really figure out what's going to be in it.
Okay, so I've got another question for you. A lot of people might be thinking, what if you've not been through a transformation? What do they do?
Two things there. I don't think that's true. We've all been through transformations. We've all overcome obstacles in our lives. And sometimes that has to do with your professional life. Like you, Ed, you've overcome being like, hitting your head against the wall trying to grow on YouTube, and then you've done it. That is a very clear transformation. Sometimes it's not so clear, but we do the work to figure this out. Like I have a client, she was a photographer. She was a photographer for like 25 years. She's like, this is all I know how to do, but I don't want to teach photography or work with photographers. I'm done with that. So I don't know what my transformation is, right? And then there are steps in this process and questions and digging that we do. And with this particular client, I found out that she was an alien with like insane self-esteem like I've never seen before in a woman. And that's something that happened at some point in her life, right? She wasn't always like that. So we created a program to help women with their self-esteem so that they can get projects out into the world, which, if you think about it, it has everything to do with photography because it's all about, image. And she added like taking selfies into the thing, into her curriculum. So we all have transformations, and we just need to do some digging, like really think about your journey and your experience. And that's where your gold is really going to be, because your clients are just a mirror of you a few months or a few years ago. Those are going to be the best clients you'll ever have because they'll trust you. They'll know you've been in the trenches. They will relate to you. And you are in this very unique position to get them where they want to go, which is where you are.
So it sounds like you just need to make the solution to a problem that you yourself had like 2 years ago.
Absolutely. 10 years ago or last month, it really is about just that transformation. And I think that's a really good place to start. Like, what is the hardest thing that you've overcome? This could be in your life or in your job or when trying to do one specific thing. And then just really think about that and then go back and think about the steps that you took to make that transformation happen. And we dive really deep into that a little bit further on when we're building our curriculum with the steps.
All right, so another question I think people are going to have is this. Why would anyone buy something from me? Not me, but they'll be thinking that about themselves. How do you get people over that fear to then build up their own confidence?
Absolutely. I think that is the biggest fear. And I am about to give you such a treat because, like I said, we're going to solve for all that before we even try to sell something, right? Because that's the thing. Like, you try to get someone to come in and be like, I don't know if I could sell this. I've never done this before. And then you try to get them to like promote their thing and ask people for money. That is scary, right? So there are steps that we need to take that are going to benefit them in a very specific marketing perspective, but also with their confidence and just being able to go out there and do the thing. And we'll get to that in a second. But another thing that I want to talk about with the transformation that I think is really important that so many people miss is that you need to think about your ideal client as having 3 highlights that you really need to look at. Okay. So the first is they need to be one specific client, right? So in your case, okay, YouTubers who do education, they need to be at a specific point in their journey. And this is really important because there's a whole timeline of a transformation. And if you're trying to help clients who are here and here and here and here and here, your program is going to have like all these things. It's going to be super overwhelming. So one specific point in their journey and one specific transformation that they want to achieve. And really focusing on these 3 highlights is what's going to bring you that scalability and that freedom, because all your clients are going to be exactly the same. That means you can put together an airtight curriculum that's going to guarantee to solve all your clients' problems, right? You're able to make guarantees and you end up with so many less questions, which gives you less work. You're able to train people better because they know everything about your client and how to help them. So these 3 specific highlights is really, really important when you're thinking about that transformation. And again, just think back to your story. Like, when I was in this lowest point, before I overcame this challenge, like, what was that like? What did I feel like? Where in my journey was that specifically? Right? And then think about those 3 things.
So you just need to think about your own pain and then produce something that fixes it.
Absolutely. That is the first step. And what you're going to be left with when you do that is a really pretty, beautiful, shiny document of things that you think. Right? Because this is what, like, okay, yes, this makes sense. This was my experience, but we need to validate that, right? Because we're going to sell something. So we need to make sure that you're not the only person on earth that has done that and that's feeling the way that, and that felt the way that you felt when you were there. So this moves us on to step 2. And before you run, it's market research. And I know you're like, I've done market research. Everyone's like, yes, I've done market research, right? They're like, I sent out a poll on Instagram. And I'm like, girl, come on. So the thing about market research and the way that we do this is that this is where we're going to really figure out your messaging. We're going to get in your clients' minds. We're going to build trust with the people you want to serve. We are going to start building an audience and building a client pipeline. And it's how we're going to get our first sales. So I want to tell you a story about my client, Louisa. Okay. If you looked at Louisa from the outside, you'd be like, Louisa, she is good to go. She had a big YouTube channel, like 40,000 subscribers. She's a dog trainer. So she had all these videos about doggies and so fun, right? And she had a big Instagram community. She had an online course. And she came to me because she's like, Lou, okay, so my online course is not selling and I don't break $3,000 a month because I have to go to people's houses to help them with their dogs. And I charge like $200 an hour. And then I'm stuck in commuting. And it was just like this whole disaster. And she had like all these limiting beliefs about like having to be present because it's a dog and not be able to charge too much because it's a dog, right? And all these things are going on. So we applied this market research strategy where I was like, Louisa, also Lou. I was like, Louisa, I need you to get your ideal clients and let's start asking them questions. So I started handing her questions to ask her clients. And these are really, they're simple questions, but they build so much trust when you start asking. So when you go to a dog owner and you're like, what is your biggest frustration with your dog? If you send that out on a form, maybe they're going to be like, my dog chews the couch. Right? But when you start talking to them, it's like the dog chews the couch. Okay, amazing. Like not amazing, but like, okay, what happens then? Well, I start not going out because he chews the couch. And then you're like, okay, so what are you missing when you don't go out? And then the person's like, well, I can't go on dates. So like, I'm still single. And then you're like, okay, so your dog, the situation with your dog is you don't have freedom in your life. Amazing. And then what started to happen here is that she started to really understand that the problem her clients were having was a lack of freedom in their lives. And how much does freedom cost, right? Like, how much would you pay for freedom? More than $200 an hour to like go to their houses and give them 30 days of support for that, right? So we were able to really nail her messaging. She started using that one word in her content, and people started coming to her like, I need you, I need your help. She asked people how much her freedom was worth, and they were like, thousands. So we upped her program price to $2,500. Oh, and so just by doing this process, she went from making like tops 3-4K a month to 40,000. She made 40,000 her first month, 38,000 her second month. That's almost $80,000 by listening to people talk, which is so transformative. So I can't stress this enough. You need to listen to the people that you want to serve really, really closely, because they will give you everything from the content you need to be creating to how much they're willing to spend to how much support they need to what actually needs to be in your program. Because like Louisa found out, she didn't need to train the dogs how to sit and lie. That didn't matter. She needed to give her clients freedom. So this process is where it really starts bringing everything together, and you go from having a document full of I thinks to a document full of I know this for a fact. This is what people need, and this is how much they'll pay for it. And if you don't have an audience, the great thing is you get to just talk to people without selling them anything, right? You're like, hey, I'd love to ask you some questions. You start building this network and you position yourself as an expert and you start building this confidence talking about this thing, right? And so if you don't have an audience, it's all about starting that process. And what starts to happen here is something that I'll touch again later on, but it's the credit card in your face effect. Because like you're talking to somebody, you're asking them questions. And I don't know if you know this, but people love talking about themselves, right? They will spend hours talking about themselves and their problems, and you're listening and you know what they're going through. And at the end, they're going to be like, all right, how do I work with you? This happens all the time. And then people start getting that confidence, like, hey, there's something here. But they're like, oh, I don't have anything to sell yet. But they get them on their list. They start building that audience little by little. So this is a really important process. And if you do have an audience, the good news is this process is a breeze. So fast, you speed right through it. So that's the second step, is just market research, right? We're building confidence, we're getting data that's really important, and we're building a pipeline.
But what if you don't have a following already? Can you, like, how do you work out what people are going to want to buy?
That is a great question. This is where we start with this process for anybody who doesn't have an audience. Every place online has their little community. So obviously where you go is really going to depend on what your niche is. But we start hanging out in these places, and I teach this whole process of how to find these places and then how to just start interacting in them. And then you literally just reach out. Like, I think that with this craziness of like the online business space, we forgot that people used to make sales and do business by talking to each other. And that's exactly what we're going to do. Right. So obviously I do have like a little script and everything that you have to say, but like, it's so simple. Like, just reach out, have conversations, ask people questions without wanting to sell them anything. Right. We remove that sleaze factor that ick factor right away, because we're just asking questions and collecting data. But this is so much easier than it might seem if you're thinking they're like, okay, how do I talk to people? How do, overthinking? It's so simple to do. So if people have zero audience, we just start by borrowing other people's audiences, like getting into the places that your ideal audience is already hanging out in.
So where would you say that the best place to find these people that give you all these clues are?
For me, Facebook groups are a gold mine, right? Like, I have all these Facebook groups, and literally 10 times a day, I see somebody asking a question that I can answer. It's like, bingo. For me to answer that question, to getting someone on a call is just like that. Because like, that's what we're training you to do. And listen, what happens during this research phase is that we do a boot camp of a set of skills that are going to be useful in your life as an entrepreneur forever, right? As an entrepreneur, you need to know how to talk to your ideal client. You need to know how to find your ideal client. You need to know how to get your client on a call. You need to know how to sell to them. And these are all skills that we're building from the very beginning so that when it does come time to sell, you know exactly what to do, you know exactly where to find people, you know exactly what to say.
So those people that you spoke to in the Facebook group, do you then just invite them onto a call and sell them something?
Well, no, I usually what I do depends, right? If I'm in the market research phase, I'll give them the answer and I'll be like, and by the way, I am doing some research. I have nothing to sell to you. And by the way, this is true, right? At this point, we do have nothing to sell. And I would just love to ask you some questions about this. Would that be okay? And like I said, people love talking about themselves. And usually people are like, yeah, absolutely. I'd love to help. So then you get them on a call and you ask them, you have a list of questions, everything that you need to know to build your program, you just ask them and they will tell you exactly what you need. Like there's this question. Like, so I'm giving it all the way in. Like if you ask someone, like if you had a program, like a magic program that you could wave a magic wand and create and it would solve all your problems, what would be in it? And they will literally tell you what they need.
So it sounds like your audience is pretty much just designing the entire course for you.
I come from a marketing background, right? Nobody in a big company would launch a product without doing focus groups and talking to people. That would be craziness and a waste of money and a waste of time. And that's how I approach this. Like, why would you create an entire program, record it, spend money editing, video, all the things, platforms, and then you don't even know if that's what people want.
All right, so now you know what to make. How do you actually get people to then want to buy it?
We build a time machine. Every successful entrepreneur has built a time machine, right? If you think about like Amazon, they have brought the storefront to your doorstep. They save you a ton of time. Netflix, they're saving you time by you not watching the ads that you would otherwise be wasting your time watching. Have you ever done research without Google? No, me neither, right? So what we're doing here now with the information that we've gathered is we're going to build a time machine curriculum. And here's where a lot of people get this wrong, right? Because you're an expert. You know everything there is to know about your particular subject. So you're probably going to be really tempted to do what I call the pump and dump. It sounds a little dirty, but it's not. You just pump up all the information you have in your brain and then you dump it out into a course. And the problem here is that your clients are going to be overwhelmed. You are going to be giving them information that's not at the right point in their journey. So it's either too basic, it's either too ahead. They don't know where to start. And then your course completion rates go down, your client transformation, your client results and transformations go down, and then you have nothing to market on top of, right? So instead of doing that, we're going to create this lean, super efficient time machine that will get your clients from point A to point B as fast as possible because they're in pain. They don't want to be there anymore. They just want to get that result, right? So build a time machine. But here's the thing. When I say build a time machine, we're going to just design it. We're going to build the course curriculum and nothing else. And then we're going to pre-sell it, right? Because again, you don't want to build the whole thing and then not sure that it's not validated or anything. So I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. Do you have any questions about the time machine? Because next we're going to sell it.
No time machine related questions. Let's move on to how you sell the thing.
Yes, amazing. So what's happened here is you've got this pipeline of really hot leads that you've already spoken to, that already trust you, that probably have already told you they want to buy your thing. And this is a real thing that happens. Usually the clients from the research call have already scheduled a second call with that person for when the thing that they're going to make is ready, right? So we're going to do a pre-sale. And the great thing about the pre-sale is that it inherently has marketing principles just like baked into it, right? So the first is scarcity, because you're going to tell your clients, look, I'm going to deliver this program live. And this is the only time that you get to do this live with me. So if you decide to be my founding member, you get so much access to me, right? You get to build this thing in real time with me. And people love that. You get urgency, right? Because you're going to start on a specific date and that's it. If you want in, chop, chop, we need to get you inside. So this is really effective to just like get people in the door. And you also get a discount because you're like, hey, you're my founding members. Like when I launch this out into the world, it's going to be like 10K, but you get to work with me for 3. So it's got all these marketing principles that just makes that sale that much easier too, right? The scarcity, the urgency, the discount. And then on top of, reaching back out to all the people that you've spoken to, hey, we have this gold mine of information now that we know how to create magnetic content on, how to really talk to your clients, how to reach out to them. So we're going to do this quick sprint that I call the revenue race. So we're going to do this little mini launch. This is the only time we're going to launch your program because, again, we don't do launching. I literally almost died from launching. That's a story for another day, right? But we're going to get your clients in the door, and then you're going to deliver it live, and you're going to collect feedback. And the amazing thing about this process is that now you have 3 things that you did not have at the start when we began, right? You have confidence, speaking to your ideal client and speaking about your offer and selling your offer. You have cash flow, right? So you've gone from 0 to probably at least $10,000 from this pre-sale of your course. And you get client results, which are so, so, so important to market your program going forward. So you need to go, like, can you imagine just like trying to do this there? Like, all right, I'm going to create a course. I'm going to put it up on the internet. It's no wonder people create courses and they hear crickets.
So this whole process sounds like the sort of thing that would give someone a lot of confidence. Mm-hmm. Like I'd probably believe that I could sell this after doing all of that research.
Yeah. And I think that the reason that I'm so set with the research part is just that it really, like, I see it before my eyes with my clients every day. You see them transforming from like, oh, I don't know if I could do this. I don't know if I could charge this much. I don't know if I could sell it, to being like, you guys, like, this is happening,
And I bet what happens is when people launch their first product, they look back and think, I probably should have charged more, right?
Yeah, no, 100%. Like once they deliver their O1 is what I call it, their offer 1, they're like, whoa, I could have charged so much more for that. They're like, what was I doing my whole life? Like Louisa, the dog trainer I spoke about, she did it at $2,500 was her O1. She's now selling it for $6,000 because like you go through this process and you're like, wow, and they're like, that crazy lady I hired, she was right. You're pretty much guaranteed to make it work because here's what's going to happen. If you start doing your market research and you see that people don't have an interest for that, we pivot. Let's try something different. Like you can't fail.
So once you've got them on board, how do you then look after these people that you've signed up?
So we deliver it live. So this is going to be like 4, 6, 8 weeks where you're literally every week, you're going to create your slides for that week. And then you're going to get your clients on Zoom once a week. So no tech. We're not like worrying about course platforms. We're not worrying about all that things. We're worrying about getting your clients results as fast as possible. That is our number one concern right now. So every week you're going to create the training for the upcoming week. You're going to deliver it live. You're going to get feedback from your clients and you're going to support them. So you're going to have one session where you're delivering the training, another session when you're answering questions, giving them support. You're going to have them all in a community and you're going to go through that process. Once you're done, you're, again, going to collect feedback, going to collect client results. And then we go on to step 5, which is like where things get really fun and easy because you're going to optimize everything. Now we're going to pre-record your trainings, make everything really pretty. Now we're going to write your sales page because we know what gets people to buy. We know what results we can deliver. Now we're going to create your funnels. This is all the things that we do after that people are just doing before for some reason.
So it sounds like when most people do this whole process of coming up with a course, they're doing it the wrong way around. They're going backwards.
Absolutely. Most people do it absolutely the wrong way around. They feel super overwhelmed. They don't know how to deal with all the tech. They're not sure why people aren't buying, right? They launch that thing and they're like, crickets, what did I do wrong? And then they've already spent all this time and this money writing copy, hiring people, recording videos, paying a course platform where they're just going to have to redo the work. Like, Ed, I have been doing this for 10 years and I cannot tell you how many courses I've launched and gotten my people in, and they start going through the curriculum, and then they have the same answer, the same questions again and again. That's a curriculum problem. That means I need to go back into my curriculum and fix that so that I can cut back on the time that I'm answering questions.
All right, so I have another objection for you. What about those people who say, well, I don't want to do this, I want to sell something that's more passive?
I think my only truly passive income stream is like my stocks, right? Like, they're there, I don't have to do anything. You're going to need to do, like, even if you want to create something truly passive, you're still going to have to do the work of recording it, of putting it up on a platform, of launching it, of getting people, of selling it, right? So you're going to have work up front. Like, what I'm proposing is really, let's just do that work once instead of twice or three times, because I guarantee that you will have to go back and rework. That has been like a constant across my own experience and all my clients' experiences who had courses already made coming in. Like, usually it's usually a curriculum problem. If your clients aren't getting results, that's a curriculum problem. If your clients have the same questions again and again and again, that's a curriculum problem. If you can't sell, that's a messaging problem. We've already solved for all these problems just by going through this process. And you're going to have them. Like, everybody has them. So why not take an approach where you are solving the problems as they come up instead of like doing the work, seeing if it works, and then having to do it again?
Okay, so another objection people might have is, well, I don't want to work with people. What would you say to those guys?
Well, what happens after that is we, again, collect that feedback, optimize. All right. Now, okay, in this training, every single one of my clients asked the same question. Let's go back and fix that curriculum problem. We're going to optimize your curriculum. We're going to build the back end. We're going to create your pretty shiny slides and recordings and put them up on a platform, and we're going to make it evergreen. All right. So remember I said we're going to launch it once. Now you've got these clients in. If you are working with your clients for, say, 6 months, you're going to deliver your course live in 5 or 6 weeks. They're going to continue to be in your group. And now that you've made your course evergreen, you're going to bring in clients every day. And again, the great thing about this is you can bring clients every day. You don't have to do launches. You don't have to go through the open cart, closed cart thing. It's a nightmare, trust me. So we've made it evergreen. We're getting people in every day. And now what we're doing is we get to the part where we hand it over to Ed and get people to grow on YouTube and get clients in. I am a firm believer in YouTube, and my business gets leads from YouTube every single day. It's amazing. But obviously business is a flywheel, right? So we need to start getting more clients, and these clients are going to get results. They're going to be super happy with their results. They're going to recommend you, and then that's going to lead to more clients. So your flywheel is going to start turning faster. We have a content strategy to help you attract your clients instead of chase them. And then when we are at this stage, then yes, we start thinking, okay, what is my scaling strategy? My favorite is YouTube, for sure. Like, it is my favorite. Until then, we're going to do outreach. We're going to do content. We can do ads. And it really goes on a case-by-case basis. A lot of my clients get so good at the part where they're creating content that is so magnetic, so mind-reading to their clients that they end up never getting to the ads part. They usually start with on-demand content, so Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, while they're building their presence on YouTube. And once you're on YouTube and that thing is running, you are so good. It is the promised land, like you say.
Okay, so you've worked out what people want. You've managed to get people in buying it. You've run them through it all and done your first dragon. Now, how do you get even more people to buy it and go through it? 3
things that sell courses at. The first is trust, and trust comes down to messaging, right? Messaging. What needs to be in your content for people to be like, that's exactly what I need. This is who I want to work with. The second is proof, right? So client results, we've got that now. And the third is value, which is the transformation, literally. Like, that is the value of your program. We're pricing it according to the transformation that you provide. So you've got the 3 things that sell courses. Now it's really just a matter of attracting clients and continuing to build that email list, right? I think this is like the first thing that I know you're big on and a lot of people forget and be like, I'm just going to post on Instagram. No, posting on Instagram, it's building on rented land, people. Build your email list. And It really is so simple when you know what to say and who to say it with, who to say it to.
And what about the people who say that they don't want to sell? What would you say to them?
First, I had to ask why. Why don't you want to do that? Like, is there something that's stopping you from actually wanting to work with clients? Because if so, I don't think that you should be in the online education space. And the second, what is it? Time. Okay, this is freeing up so much time in your life that you would spend launching, that you would spend doing outreach, that you would spend doing all the other things that you would have to do for other products that you can create, right? And I think from personal experience, I know that my favorite time of the week is Tuesday afternoons when I go into calls with my clients, because I get such an energy rush from them from hearing their wins. So for me, that is so gratifying. And it's the more your business grows, I think there's that point too. Like, I really believe in building a business that's going to outlast all of us. So the point is, when you've got everything in place and you've gone through the process, this is where you can start thinking about hiring an assistant coach to be in the group, answering those questions all day. This is where you can really train someone to be on the calls with you at first. And then, just be there in your place when you want to take a sabbatical or spend more time with your kids. But in order to build to that, you do need to do the upfront work. And that's true of any product that you build.
And what would you say to people who say, I don't want to sell something high ticket, maybe it's a bit too daunting to them, maybe they want to start something cheaper?
I would say, do you have an audience? Because if so, you want to build a $10 course, be my guest, sir. If you have like 100,000 people to buy that, that's good. If you don't, I would say that you are going to expand the time that it takes to have a profitable business by years. Why would you sell? Like, if your goal is $10,000 a month, why would you create something that creates a nightmare of lead generation for you, where instead you can create something where you literally just need 2 clients a month or 1?
Kind of made it sound so simple.
Listen, business is simple. Like, it's truly repeatable. It's all about understanding what works in your niche for your clients and then repeating that. And what I love about this process is that we get that out of the way first thing, right? So that we know what works, and then we can just keep doing that. And the great thing about like the reaching out to people and really nailing how to do that is that, you know what? Okay, YouTube takes a little while to grow. You can literally get clients anytime you need by just repeating what you've already done that's already worked.
All right, so what's next, or is that mission accomplished?
Mission accomplished. You want to make money while you sleep. Like, this is what will make that happen, especially when you have evergreen content that's being served long-term to your ideal clients. Like, I call YouTube my 24-hour army of sales reps, because that's what it is. If
you're sitting there thinking, I need to watch that back again to take it all in, don't bother doing that. Watch this video here, because Luciana has just launched a brand new channel on YouTube, and one of her first videos was explaining this whole process in a nice, short, neat little video.